Hello again, Spirit House. I just wanted to talk again today about another subject, and that's why one can't be compared to another person. Why you should never compare yourself to someone else to measure your self worth or your accomplishments or anything like that, because there are people who have lived thousands, 10,000, maybe even millions of lives, old souls. I'm one of them. But then there's people who haven't lived as many lives, who are newer souls. And aside from that, okay, so you gain wisdom throughout that, even if you don't remember it when you're reincarnated, which I believe in. Not everybody does, but I'm just speaking for myself from my experience and wisdom. Okay, so you know, you have that inner knowing. If you've lived so many lives and you've throughout the ages, at some point in your life you're gonna awaken, and for me, pretty much all my life, I've just had this knowing of things that were truth, that I just knew were truth, and were I just knew, and things that I awakened to later, like more recently, but you can't compare one person to another. Everyone is here to learn and to go through their life experience. And everyone has to go through periods of darkness or karmic, situations or even lifetimes in cycles before they can break free, and it's hard, especially if you have like deep rooted family, like generational curses or family karma that just keeps repeating itself over and over, like if you have a narcissistic mother, then that creates trauma and wounds for the children, and then that is passed down generations upon generations. It's not easy to break generational curses. It's hell, really. I mean, but aside from generational curses, it's like everyone has their own experiences. They have to, and a lot of times, no matter what kind of advice you get, whether it's really crappy and meant to destroy you, which is happens a lot if you ask a lot of people for advice, which I don't recommend. Except aside from God and people that are truly genuine, but a lot of times your family and your friends and all the people surrounding you can be your biggest enemies. But I digress. You know, you have to go through certain experiences. That's the only way you can really learn. Despite all the best advice in the world, people have to go through experiences to be able to impress upon them and really learn from them, and life lessons and stuff. And there's no curve, or there's no, curriculum, or like there's no grading scale on that, because everyone's at different stages in their soul evolution, depending on how old their soul is, and depending on their age or their upbringing. All kinds of factors and variables come into it. So it's like you looking at yourself and thinking you're lesser because somebody else is doing this or that or has evolved more. That's like ridiculous, because you're probably right where you need to be, where you are in your life, even if it's not going well or you've made mistakes. It's a learning process, and people shouldn't really be judged for that, as long as you're not trying to hurt someone. If you're going out there with hate and anger in your heart, filled in your heart, and you're just trying to destroy somebody else's life, steal their destiny, you really, really need to look inside, because you're going to have lifetimes of karma from that. Lifetimes. I'm saying, if you think things are miserable now, the more and more you do, every single spell you do, especially on a chosen one, is going to rack up lifetimes of karma. And so it's best to just stop while you're ahead, and you're not ahead. But I mean, so doing something like that, murdering some, people like that, obviously there's heavy, heavy karma. Even taking your own life, could add eons onto your lifetime, in purgatory, even. And purgatory is not necessarily like what people visualize it as hell, or under the earth. Although when you die, you will go to a place that's neither here nor there, neither heaven nor hell, if you're in purgatory for a while until your judgment comes upon you. But what I'm saying is purgatory can be just being dealt bad karma for your actions for years and years and years on end without a break. Bad luck, bad finances, everything you wished on somebody else, everything you did to somebody else, all the delays, all the stagnation, all of the manipulation against someone's free will. That's purgatory. What comes around, back around to you, what's returned to you, can be purgatory. It can be hell on earth. You can make your own heaven on earth, or you can basically create your own hell by your own choices and actions. So, it's kind of like, it's all choices, right? And it's all a learning experience. And we have free will. We don't, no matter what anyone says, people that have influence over our lives, that's the problem with giving power to other people, or wanting acceptance, or wanting to fit into the crowd, wanting to be a sheeple, is that you are going to suffer from that if you don't live your own truth and learn to speak up to people, tell them to F off, and live your own life and make your own choices according to what you know deep down is right, or what other people expect of you, what other people tell you to do, what other people like, what you're willing to put your soul through to be in order to be accepted into certain societies, stuff like that. That can have implications for lifetimes, really. So, just make your choices wisely. But in the end, we all have to experience some things in order to learn our lessons, and that takes lifetimes. It does. And depending on how old your soul is, just know that it's all a learning process. Everyone's learning, no matter what stage they're at. And you cannot compare yourself to somebody else and your knowledge and all that stuff, because you don't know how many lifetimes that person's lived or how ancient their soul is compared to yours. You don't know. There's a lot of variables, like I said, so it's like ridiculous to try to compare yourself to someone else and feel jealous because someday you'll be there. It's like, it takes a lot of time, and people like me have paid their fucking dues. I'm sorry for my language, but you have no right to get jealous or get pissed off or not want me on the earth because you don't know what I've been through, including your bullshit. Okay, so just take responsibility for your actions and choices, accountability, and learn from it. Every time you're dealing with a bad time, instead of complaining and having crocodile tears and crying and trying to get money from people, just think, why am I here? What choices did I make to get me here? And maybe learn from that. And then your process will go a lot quicker and you'll end up a lot wiser a lot sooner. Okay? Everyone have a wonderful day. I love you. Goodbye.